In today's video, I'm talking about phytonutrients. What are they? Benefits and sources. And so when we look at phytonutrients, they are nutrients derived from plant material that have been shown to be necessary for sustaining human life. Phytochemicals are non nutritive, meaning like they're not like vitamin A, vitamin E. They don't really have a name that corresponds to a vitamin or a mineral. So they're considered non nutritive plant chemicals that contain protective, disease preventing compounds. Their role in plants is to protect plants from disease, injuries, insects, drought, excessive heat, ultraviolet rays, and poisons or pollutants in the air or soil. They form parts of the plant's immune system. So, when we're looking at phytonutrients, we're thinking about things like anthocyanins, for example, that I'm going to talk more about, but this is what gives blueberries their bluish color, right? And that actually is a pigment that helps protect them against radiation, right? UV radiation coming down from the sun. So they need a protective layer so that they don't die. There's not too much oxidative stress and they're able to adapt and thrive. Kind of like humans, we have melanin in our skin. And so the more sun we're being exposed to, we secrete more melanin, which gives us a tan, right? Or our genetics may say, okay, our species has been in, close to the equator. So for long periods of time. So genetically, we're going to have more melanin in our skin. We're going to be darker colored. And so it's kind of the same with phytonutrients. They give color to a lot of different plants and they help protect the plants from all different types of geographical and pathogen associated threats. And so 5 colors of phytonutrients. And we know that 8 out of 10 Americans don't eat enough color. And this is one of the big things I teach in nutrition. I'm always talking about eat a lot of colorful foods. And it's very attractive to your plate. It's attractive to your appetite when you have a lot of different colors. And there's a lot of benefits. There's polyphenols that are these amazing compounds that give colors. And these are some of the phytonutrients. So when we think about red, we think about lycopene, which is a powerful polyphenol that's in tomatoes. We think about ellagic acid, which is really powerful. And that actually helps for example, our gut bacteria like Akkermansia muciniphila, which is one of our keystone bacteria, will break down ellagic acid, which we get from raspberries, from pomegranate, from strawberries. We'll break that down and it will convert it into something called urolithin A. And urolithin A stimulates intestinal cell mitophagy, where the intestinal cells will actually break down old damaged mitochondria and rebuild them. Ellagic acid is one of the greatest stimulators of that. And again, the best sources are things like pomegranate, raspberries, strawberries, right? Red. These things all have red ellagic acid. So anthocyanins, like I've talked about, so they can come in a variety of shades. They can be a reddish shade, a purple, bluish shade. So you think about things like purple cabbage, red onions, right? Rich in anthocyanins. Resveratrol, we see that in purple and blue, right? So resveratrol, you're going to find in, your grapes, right? Your grape skin, dark red grape skins. Blueberries have resveratrol. You can also find resveratrol actually in dark chocolate, believe it or not, as well. Green. So when we look about green, we think about things like lutein and zeaxanthin. So, for example, avocados are a rich source of lutein and zeaxanthin, and you'll find that in spinach, kale, different things like that. We also think about EGCG or catechins, epigalactin catechin, and that's in green tea. We also think about things like sulforaphane, right? We find that in broccoli sprouts or broccoli in general in our different cruciferous vegetables, isothiocyanates in our different cruciferous vegetables. We know 69% of Americans don't get enough green. We know that 76% of Americans don't get enough purple and blue. And the purple benefits are good for your heart, right? So we're talking about resveratrol, anthocyanins, great for your brain, great for your arteries. Whenever I think about resveratrol, I think about kind of the outer skin, and that's so good for the endothelial lining of the blood vessels, right? It really helps with helping the body have better oxygen delivery to the cells. We also have to think about white. It's not as colorful. However, white also has a lot of powerful compounds. We think about allicin, which is in the garlic family, quercetin, which we can find in onions, for example, indoles and glucosinolates, and also the EGCG, right? The epigalactic catechins are also can be found in white foods. Yellow and orange foods, we find things like alpha carotene, beta carotene. There's more lutein and zeaxanthin. This is sweet potatoes, pumpkins, carrots, hesperidin, which is a citrus bioflavonoid that we find in oranges and grapefruits and lemons and limes. So these things are really, really good for your immune system, great for eye health, great for skin health. So all these different things have a tremendous amount of nutrient benefits, nutritional benefits. And the research benefits of a phytonutrient rich diet, it's been shown to improve immune health and protect against pathogens, to support healthy blood pressure and circulation, again, by helping enhance the elasticity of that endothelial lining of the blood vessels, keeps that blood pressure stable and keeps oxygen delivery going out to the cells. Also, very important for liver health and detoxification, for blood sugar and insulin sensitivity, for brain health and memory, and also for reducing oxidative stress and inflammation. Most of these compounds are very powerful antioxidants, and they protect the plant from oxidative stress. One of the primary forms of oxidative stress, again, is UV light coming from the sun. These plants are growing out in the sun. They need a certain amount of sun in order to be able to produce energy. However, if they get too much sun, obviously the oxidative stress from the UV rays will damage them and kill them. And so they've created strategies to adapt to that environment, also to changes in weather. So some of these things help give them resilience to weather changes, to different insects and molds and things like that. This is how these plants have adapted and survive in nature. They create these phytonutrients, and when we consume them, we confer those benefits, right? Those benefits now get translated into us, right? And now we have better antioxidant potential to deal with oxidative stress and inflammation. It helps to prime and adapt our immune system. So a lot of great benefits. And of course, these things are also very antimicrobial. They help support and optimize our gut microbiome. So some of the most well-studied phytonutrients are anthocyanins. Again, that gives a blue, red, or purple hue to a plant. We find these in blueberries, red onions, red cabbage, blackberries, eggplant, cherries, things like that. Plant tannins. This is astringent, bitter, or drying flavor. We find that in cranberries, for example. When you have a cranberry, the very bitter dryness of it, that is tannins. We also find them in currants. Dark chocolate has tannins, nuts, seeds, legumes. Lutein and zeaxanthin, they give a yellowish hue to foods. They're found in yellow and orange foods such as carrots, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, egg yolks. But we can also find these in green foods. In fact, when green foods start to rot, for example, if you see kale and the kale is starting to rot, it will actually turn yellow first, right? There's kind of a yellow underlay, and then the chlorophyll, which gives it a green color, overpowers that. But there you have the nutrients of the yellowness, the lutein, the zeaxanthin, the beta carotene, and then you also have the chlorophyll on top. When we look at green, of course, we think about chlorophyll and how powerful that is for helping detoxify, helping cleanse the body, helping build new blood cells. But we also think about sulforaphane, in particular when it comes to cruciferous vegetables, things like kale, mustard greens, collard greens, broccoli sprouts, which are the best source of sulforaphane, which is very powerful for helping to detoxify bad estrogens, helping to stimulate the NRF2 or the antioxidant response enzymes to deal with oxidative stress at a high level. Sulforaphane is really powerful for that, really powerful for detoxification. And then we also can think about something called eugenol, which provides a warm, spicy clove-like flavor. This is kind of a brownish red. You think about things like clove, cinnamon, nutmeg, cumin, coffee, and certain berries like raspberries and strawberries. They have eugenol in them. I also think about ellagic acid in some things like raspberries, strawberries, and pomegranate. But the eugenol kind of gives that warm, spicy clove-like flavor. And we find that again, very powerful in cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, cumin, right? Very good for reducing inflammation, great for blood sugar stability, great antimicrobial. We think about clove, we think about its ability to kill parasites, right? Very anti-parasitic, very antimicrobial, very supportive to the gut microbiome. So eugenol is a powerful compound there. So going back to anthocyanins, they are strongly suggested by a number of studies to improve the sharpness of your vision. Really good for helping prevent against macular degeneration and cataracts. So eating blueberries, purple cabbage, red onions, um, grapes, right, have anthocyanins. You also find them in blackberries. Very, very good. Very anti-cancer, reduce inflammation, heart disease, diabetes, bacterial infections. They help. They're antibacterial. And then neurodegenerative diseases as well that help prevent against those as well. So purple corn is another one I didn't mention, but the corn, certain types, certain species of corn can actually develop these anthocyanins to help protect them. Blood oranges, you'll see kind of a bluish orange is really unique. That's an orange, the citrus, but it's also adapted to have more of these anthocyanins because of the strong exposure to UV light in the sun. And that's kind of how it's adapted. Anthocyanins are really good for helping deal with UV radiation from the sun. So they confer those benefits. So a lot of great foods that we could find that are rich in anthocyanins that we should be consuming on a regular basis. Now, plant tannins, again, they're commonly found in the bark of trees, wood, leaves, buds, stems, fruits, nuts, seeds, and roots of plants. They act to protect their species against pathogens such as bacteria, fungi, and other parasites. And tannins, again, have this strong, astringent, drying or mouth puckering flavor. So foods that are rich in tannins, pomegranate. When we think about that, kind of like cranberry, it's very astringent, very drying. So pomegranate not only does it have ellagic acid in it, but it also has tannins, plant tannins as well. Berries can be rich in tannins. Legumes, coffee is very rich in tannins. Dark chocolate, nuts, most herbal tea, and currants as well. And they're very good at improving oxidative stress and inflammation, supporting blood pressure and circulation. And they're, again, antimicrobial against a lot of these different pathogens that we're dealing with. So a lot of herbs or a lot of herbal teas, dandelion, things like that, very, very good for, very rich in tannins. Benefits of lutein and zeaxanthin. So again, that gives the rich orange or yellow hue. And again, they're also very high in green vegetables, but the chlorophyll content of the greens overpowers the yellow orange. Great for eyes. So whenever I think about lutein and zeaxanthin, kind of like beta carotene or fat soluble retinol, I think eyes, I think brain, fat soluble areas. Also really good for blood sugar and insulin sensitivity, skin health, circulation, and heart health. So some of the best food sources: carrots, sweet potatoes, egg yolks, great source, particularly if the chickens are eating a lot of grass, a lot of green grass, they're getting the lutein, zeaxanthin right from that. Bell peppers, pumpkins, butternut squash, pistachios, and dark green leafy vegetables. Also, avocados could be on this list as well. Very good source of lutein and zeaxanthin. And then sulforaphane, that's the compound within the isothiocyanate group of organosulfur compounds. So it has a sulfur compound, and it's found in its highest amount in cruciferous veggies like broccoli, kale, collard greens, and especially broccoli sprouts. It's the most dense source of sulforaphane. You can also find a lot in watercress sprouts, radish sprouts. So sprouts have the most, but by far broccoli sprouts have the most. And in those foods, it's in an inactive form called glucoraphanin. The myrosinase enzymes are released in the plant when it's damaged. So when you chew it, that turns the glucoraphanin into sulforaphane. So cruciferous veggies or sprouts must be cut, chopped, or chewed to release the myrosinase and activate the sulforaphane. And of course, they've been shown to slow the aging process, boost liver detoxification, particularly phase 2 enzymes and glutathione. And when we think about liver detoxification, a lot of people have fast phase 1, slow phase 2. And so they actually phase one is a process where you actually can actually make a compound even more toxic. So if you're slow phase two, you're going to have a lot of issues. And that's one of the great things about sulforaphane is it really helps isolate and focus on phase two, which is the conjugation process, and boosts up glutathione to help deactivate these toxins. And so it also boosts up superoxide dismutase for intracellular prevention of DNA mutation and oxidative stress. So, really important for that. And increases the excretion of many different carcinogens like excess estrogens, things like benzene. So, really important for that. It activates NRF2, the body's strongest defense against oxidative stress. Sulforaphane is also very good for reducing the uh, the virulency of H. pylori and Epstein-Barr, right? Basically, putting those, helping to inhibit those and inhibit their pathogenic effects. Also, very good for supporting the mitochondria. That's part of that superoxide dismutase. When it boosts glutathione, superoxide dismutase, that really helps protect the mitochondria, stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, and improves cellular energy levels. So sulforaphane can be really powerful. And then we think about eugenol again. That's that essential oil phytochemical that gives clove its warm, spicy scent and pungent flavor. We talked about some of the foods that it's in, some of these herbs like cloves, cinnamon, nutmeg, also in Tulsi, also called holy basil. Turmeric has eugenol in it, basil, oregano, and cumin. And we know that that's very, very antimicrobial. We think about oregano oil, clove oil, some of the best things for helping kill parasites, bad bacteria, things like that, but also very good for reducing inflammation, oxidative stress, great for brain health and cognition, supporting liver and gut health. So a lot of great benefits to eugenol. And in general, to kind of summarize this, we want to eat a rainbow, right? It's really important to eat a rainbow. We know white foods support immunity in the circulatory system and can reduce your risk of cancer. We know yellow foods are good for your skin, heart, and eyes, and they improve your digestion and your immune system. We know orange foods, right? The yellow and the orange, again, those have your lutein, zeaxanthin. Orange foods help prevent cancer, reduce the risk of heart disease. Also really good for your skin, your heart, your eyes, your brain health. Red foods, really good for your heart and blood health. They support joint function. Blue and purple foods with anthocyanins. Red foods, we think about ellagic acid. We think about eugenol, right? Things like that. And blue and purple food and lycopene as well in red foods. Blue and purple foods, we think about anthocyanins. And we think about resveratrol. They help with mineral absorption. They can improve your memory, your brain function, your mitochondrial health. And then green foods, I think about chlorophyll number one, but then also sulforaphane, great for detoxifying the body and strengthening the immune system. There's also lutein and zeaxanthin in the green foods, many of the green foods as well. So with that said, this is all part of, a really well-balanced diet. I am a huge advocate of a high protein, lower carbohydrate diet, consuming, a good amount of protein on a regular basis, roughly somewhere around, half to 1 full gram of protein per pound of lean body mass, and getting that from grass-fed meat, from organic poultry, wild game, wild caught seafood can all be really healthy sources. And then, you're eating a lot of good fats, avocados, avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, which is very rich in polyphenols as well. I didn't talk about that, but extra virgin olive oil, incredible source of polyphenols, things like oleocanthols, which, are known as nature's natural ibuprofen, really powerful at reducing inflammation and pain, and also have been shown to kill cancer cells in vitro. And so, oleocanthal, they also have hydroxytyrosol, which is great for going over the blood-brain barrier and helping prevent against oxidative stress in the brain. So really love a high polyphenol, extra virgin olive oil. Ginger, is fantastic. Getting healthy fats, coconut oil, grass-fed butter, consuming pasture-raised eggs, super good for your body. Getting a lot of herbs. I talked about ginger, basil, oregano, thyme, rosemary, sage, garlic, onions, chives. Apple cider vinegar, doing that on a regular basis to help stabilize blood sugar with the acetic acid that's in there. profound for helping stabilize blood sugar. It's also a postbiotic, which helps support your gut microbiome and helps your body reduce inflammation throughout the system. I also am a huge advocate of lemons, limes, berries, right? Different multicolored berries, drinking herbal teas, dandelion tea, ginger tea, green tea, chamomile tea, right? All really, really good. This is what we want to be focusing on when it comes to our overall diet. And if you're interested and you want to get, more polyphenols, more of these colors in your diet, you can always find a great greens powder. I know we've got our Ancient Nutrition Organic Super Greens on our store. And I'll have a link below this video, which has got 28 organic and living superfoods, 8 organic cleansing herbs, rich in chlorophyll, antioxidants, and trace minerals, has enzymes, probiotics in there to really support your system. And a lot of people really thrive doing a super greens powder or some sort of a really high quality phytonutrient polyphenol blend. Great for the gut, great for helping reduce oxidative stress and inflammation in your system. But the most important takeaway here is I want you to focus on getting these things in your diet, right? Eating the rainbow in your diet on a regular basis. So when I look at my plate, I've got a really good piece of protein, whether it's grass-fed beef or it's wild-caught fish or something like that. That's going to give me a really good amount of protein. Typically, I'm only eating usually 2, sometimes 3 meals a day. I'm usually consuming about 50 grams, maybe more of protein in each of those meals. So I have a really good piece of meat. Healthy fats. I've cooked it in fats. I've got healthy fats there, whether it's a guacamole or I'm putting extra virgin high polyphenol, extra virgin olive oil on it, or I've got grass-fed butter on it or something like that. And then I'm having like a Mediterranean salad with tomatoes, bell peppers, hearts of palm, which, give me the white in there, cucumbers. I love like a little arugula, which is great because it's lower in oxalates, really good for the liver. It's got the tannin like dryness, bitterness to it, but it's not too strong. So I really like the flavor of that. I have got in that salad, I've got some artichokes, which are again white, but they're really good for the gut microbiome. Great prebiotic fiber in there. That's good for the system. Also really good for the liver. Artichokes really good for bile flow, supporting bile flow. So I've got that in there. I've got some, extra virgin olive oil, of course, over it. I've got lemon juice. I've got herbs. So basil, oregano, thyme, basil, or I already mentioned basil, but basically like a Mediterranean mix, rosemary in there. So Mediterranean herb mix on it, and I'm good to go, right? So I've got my greens, I've got my reds, I've got, pretty much all the different colors that are in there. Maybe dice up some red onions so I get a little bit of that. And then for dessert, I like a really good organic Greek yogurt with some blueberries, raspberries, maybe a little blackberries in there, and some protein powder, mixing that up. So that's a high protein, polyphenol rich little dessert that I consume as well. So I'm getting more of those colorful fruit, right? With the anthocyanins, with the ellagic acid in there, resveratrol to really help support my system. So that's how I put it all together. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this training. I love talking about nutrition. That's why I've got the Functional Nutrition podcast, right? Because I'm all about, getting the right nutrients in your body, consuming these kinds of polyphenol rich foods, and you find the ones that you do the best with, right? So some of them you may not do great with, some other ones you're going to do really, really well with. You find the ones that you thrive with. And when you do that, that really helps balance out your diet and helps you reduce the effects of aging, reduce your risk of developing chronic disease, and really thrive in life. So we'll see you guys in a future online training. Be blessed, everybody.